State leaders want to audit the agency in charge of expanding high-speed internet across Texas. The House Speaker and the Lieutenant Governor want to know how the Broadband Development Office is investing its money. KCBD News Channel 11's Brittany Crittenden joins us now with what sparked questions about influence. Brittany.
Christy, Speaker Dustin Burrows of Lubbock and Lieutenant Governor Dan Patrick say a Senate committee first raised questions about an audit last month. They were evaluating progress at the Broadband Development Office and how it's invested as much as $5 billion of state and federal money. Back on June 24th, the director testified about the agency's grant programs, ranging from pole replacement to how companies can expand access to high-speed internet. Committee Chairman Charles Schwertner, a Republican from Georgetown, says there are concerns in the industry that the state isn't fairly evaluating all its contracts.
There's been concerns raised, and I'm bringing it to the public's and the office's attention that I have my eye on y'all regarding the way y'all are conducting your business. And I don't care who's messing with your business, but we as an oversight committee are going to oversee it regarding fairness and transparency.
The lawmakers suggested the office gave sweetheart deals to certain companies, offering them more money up front than it normally would. The director said it denied those changes to other companies using fiber or cable. It specifically focused on low Earth orbit satellite internet. Elon Musk's Starlink is the only company offering that service at scale.
Who asked?
The Office of the Governor asked us to look at how our proposed structure compared to other states.
And that was when?
That was around May 20th.
Of 2025?
2026.
2026. Did he say why? Did the governor's office give any indication for why we should re-examine the structure?
Generally that, we were out of step with other nearby states.
And a spokesman for the governor's office said it prioritizes getting broadband to rural communities as quickly as possible, and said the development office made the decision to provide earlier access to capital to provide that service more quickly. Speaker Burrows and the lieutenant governor say an audit will help make the office more open, accountable, and responsible. Christy.
Okay, thanks so much, Brittany.